Question: did Standard Bank fund one of these dubious agendas to confuse people about the Bible or to draw people away from the Bible? Now, that's the question that I'm asking. I'm just asking. So I was out kind of researching a certain topic. Then I stumbled on Bram Post's Facebook page, and you'll know he's an actor, very well known, very talented and stuff. And so when I stumbled on his Facebook page, I started scrolling. I didn't expect that he had his name and stuff. And so I stumbled on a post he made of a play that was somewhat related to something churchy or something, when I was looking at some of the pictures and stuff like that. And so I was interested in, okay, that they have a play that has something to do with church or something, or in some type of way, church and stuff. Standard Bank has this page called the arts thing, and they do a lot of like different, or they sponsor a lot of these art projects, whether it be musical concerts or whatever you may call it. They tend to have a lot of arts-based type of stuff, whether it be jazz, acting, what you name it. I was interested. Okay, what's the topic? So I found an interview, and in the interview they get describing. So you guys, I guess this is where you'll be able to tell me, do you think they funded one of those agendas that are against the gospel? I don't know. Y'all tell me. And so there was a particular spot in there where they were interviewing some of the guys involved with the projects, and this is what they had to say.
In an industry that can easily disappear you, she actually has something to say that is valid, that is necessary.
Okay, they're talking about the producer for the show. Okay, right.
That is urgent.
First of all, I'd like to say thank you to the National Arts Festival for also the recognition of Momo. It's a story of identity. You know, you speak about African identity and the spirituality, but you do not want to go into the cliche way of talking about that. And you see, the story revolves around this young girl who has amadlozi, or has a calling, is telling you exactly what is supposed to be or what is happening in the story. So it's beautiful how you took a Christian root, grounded root, but now the twist is going to be about the African identity.
I think is a relevant piece for the time. It is.
Okay, so I guess that's the name of the play, Kalebitso la Moya. And so it plays on the idea that, oh yeah, Christian, but this thing is clearly not related. Don't cast it out. The identity is African and stuff. Y'all tell me, is it me? Or is it one of those?
Accessible language more than anything. It really was very accessible. It made the issues that are really South African issues, come to life. I think everything was just so well put together. To see the mediums intersecting, dance, music, and acting, all of it, it was just, honestly, I was at the edge of my seat the entire time, and the play was...
Okay, so that's the name of the play. So now the thing that drew me to this play is it's the visuals of it. They look very, very interesting. The visuals looked very interesting. And so I initially thought, oh, so there was a Christian show that Standard Bank and Thingy Theatre they had done, and very recently. This is about July. I only saw it today. And so I thought it's quite an interesting story enough. So my question is, anyways, he said it's about identity. It's about identity, and particularly South African. See, I don't know, God. This is very important for us to have a conversation about. God, there is no God for the Africans and God for the Europeans. There's no God for the Egyptians. The only gods you will find that are regional or race-based are fallen angels. And why do they do that? Is because it distances us from true identity. It distances us from having to tackle the subject of faith with God and restored faith at that, where it's supposed to be, not in ideas of what we find down here. You remember at one point the whole world spoke one language, and then we were divided. God divided so that heresies would not spread like wildfire. So we spoke one language, and there was one God to be worshipped, and then God split us up. So it restricts these heresies from spreading like wildfire. But then we then stumbled on these ideas of, oh yeah, which means everybody has their own God, or we have our own way of interpreting getting to God, and so does that sound like God would be that divided? Just asking a question here. If he is God, and the Bible says that he does not share in his glory, and also the thing that drew me into this particular play was that, in the earlier parts when they were talking about the story, they were talking about, they had to kind of practice their way into things so that they can have, they can always be in character and stuff. And so now it adds a new meaning. It has a new meaning. And they said, they had to do rituals in order to think. But by rituals, they mean like they had to do kind of like meditation or whatever it was in order to get themselves into thinking. If it is one God and he says that he is a jealous God, he does not share in his glory. When we separated, it didn't mean that the human race was separated. The human race there was still one human race, and there was still one God. We found individual gods when we now relying on ourselves and others like us. We relied on ancestors to define God. While as in creation we can see plainly, it's my interaction with the rest of the world and God who put me down here. But then we made it about just us. It's here to there, from there to here. So this relationship determines this relationship. But then if I mess up this relationship, this one here will lead me into idol stuff, And so I was excited at first. Then I was like, Standard Bank. And so I haven't seen it, but by the description it sounds like here they're only showing a highlight of it. It was published a little bit earlier on this year, and I guess they had put this work a little bit earlier on. It's called Kika. Yeah, the name will be down in the description below. So if I do see it, I'll tell you, but already described in the thingy. So it's quite an interesting one that we've allowed this skin to tell us that there's a different God for everybody. That God, if he is one God, why doesn't he have one way to get back to him? But anyways, maybe that's just my thought. Y'all tell me your thoughts. I thought that was quite an interesting one to share. I found it not long ago from the time when you're actually seeing this. I was actually thinking, oh wow, it's a powerful story. I was thinking it's along the lines of exposing falsehoods in the church and stuff like that. And also they were saying in the interview, they kind of go we would want this to go and be shown into different churches. Now I'm looking at it and I'm like, okay, wait. So you want to show that, okay, some of the demons that we're dealing with in church are not demons. They are ancestral spirit, and we must acknowledge that. What? That's not church. That's not biblical. Okay, if you like your acting, okay, I can go and do that. Find a television platform that I will showcase that. That has nothing to do with church. Of course, there's places where now they do that and stuff like that. And so, but just a little bit of a heads up from an apologist, a person who stands for the faith, That's not it. That's not church doctrine. Our interactions with you read Genesis chapter number 6, it's very clear. We're not to interact with thingy. You read Luke, Lazarus and the rich man, you can see there's a clear distinction between those who are living and those that are dead. But hey, maybe that's just what we believe. Tell me your thoughts down in the comment section, and I'll see you on the later on. Y'all have a good one.